All right. Boom. All right, we're live. I am recording us. We are ready to rock and roll. Welcome to Throwing Smoke, everybody. I'm Uncle Randy. That's Vince
Yes,
over
sir.
there. We're going to get rocking and rolling. I wanted to start this whole thing with a question we got submitted from a listener, and it's a great question. I can't believe we haven't talked about it before.
Well, I love your listeners' questions, so I'm already excited.
Yeah,
Your listeners' questions are the best.
Yeah, it says, Uncle Randy and Vince, why doesn't anyone want to fight Ryan Hall? What are your thoughts? So you want to go first?
Sure. Why doesn't anybody want to fight Ryan Hall? Probably because they know he's going to take their ankle or their knee home with him. He's awkward. Who do you get to spar with you? Preparing for him. Nobody really knows him outside of us, hardcore MMA fans. What's the upside?
Yep.
I would say.
I think there's a few reasons, actually. Like one reason I think is that, for one, nobody wants to smoke. They can act like he's all, because he's a very, centered guy. He's not outlandish. He doesn't celebrate. He doesn't get too high or too low. He doesn't look scary at all. But those are the scariest motherfuckers walking the earth. The ones that don't look like it, but they are. And his striking is better than people give him credit for. I know his jiu-jitsu is nasty. His fucking leg locks are just gross. I mean, it's incredible what he can do with the leg locks. Like you said, he'll take that fucking...
Yeah, I think that's what they're afraid of. I don't think it's his striking. I mean, I don't think we've seen much of it. I think he was throwing some like really slapping long distance kind of kicks in his last fight. I even forget who it was against. It probably went quickly. I think it was BJ maybe, right? Who was his last fight?
It wasn't BJ was his next to last fight. His last fight, I can't even remember, but he it was shit. Was it Damage? Darren Elkins. I think it was Darren Elkins.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
And he waxed him pretty good. I mean,
you're right. Yeah, that was cool.
It was big, but I heard that Lamas and him are going to fight, that they've signed the contract. So he is going to fight Lamas.
There you go.
Who's a gangster? He brings
Yeah. He gets in the heat. Ricardo Lamas was opposite Max Holloway when he pointed down on the ground, and he stood right with them. So I'm a fan of anybody who fights like that.
One of my favorite moments since I've been watching MMA was that.
Yeah, for sure.
And this is a great question too that we got, and I think it was because they've heard mine before, but they want to know, who's your favorite fighter of all time?
Mine?
Yes, yours. And why? Like, who is it? Why is that? Doesn't matter about records, just who's your favorite?
Probably Chuck Liddell. I think initially was the one that I kind of connected with. I loved his style, sprawl and brawl. If he got taken down, he popped back up, but he was just trying to bang you out, right? So I really respected that coming up. But I mean, that's a hard thing to say because I've been a fan of the UFC since UFC 1. So I've seen a lot. I was a fan immediately of Gerard Gordeau when he kicked Taylor Tooley in the mouth and his tooth went flying. So I've been a fan since then. So there's a lot of great fighters who've come through, but for sure, Chuck Liddell stands out. If right now, when you just asked me that without any preparation.
No, that's a good one, man. Mine is always everybody's like, what? When I tell them mine was Evan Tanner.
Right on.
Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Evan Tanner. Yes, sir.
The Camel, goddamn, I love that motherfucker. Win, lose, or draw, man. He was just my kind of fucking dude, man.
He was my backup on the original UFC game that was on Sega Dreamcast. Yes. My backup to Marco Huas. Marco Huas is definitely another one of those guys that I just, loved and turned me on to mixed martial arts. Vale Tudo.
Yeah. You know who was one of mine? Nobody talks about it anymore? Cabbage. Old Cabbage.
Oh, Carrera. Yeah, that dude was a beast.
Dude, I've never, him and Evan Tanner, I think I like guys that can take damage, and keep going forward.
Yeah, Cabbage was Tank Abbott version 2.0. That's what Cabbage was.
Yeah, with a better chin, though.
Oh, man, Cabbage, incredible. It was concrete.
Dude, people would break both their hands on his head. Concrete. They'd lose because their hands couldn't do any more damage.
Yeah, I might be afraid of somebody that I gave my best shot over and over and over again, and they're still coming. That's like, holy shit.
Well, that's where Evan Tanner won me over, right? Was when he fought Rich Franklin, and Rich Franklin just beat the dog shit out of him.
Hmm.
And his face was just gnarly as hell. Had the cornrows in and shit. Just
Yep.
bad motherfucker,
Yep.
man.
Yep. Much respect to Evan Tanner.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I'm
Yes,
still
sir.
waiting on them to make the movie about his life. It was, they talked about it for a long time. I've still got one of his shirts, the Power of One, where you could sponsor his corner because he didn't. He would
Right.
let fans and stuff be official like sponsors of his shit.
Yeah, he's an eccentric dude for sure.
Oh man, crazy! I hate the way that went down, man. I think everybody that followed him was like, man, don't go out in the fucking desert. Man.
Fucking
Just don't do
desert.
it.
Yeah, crazy.
It's never gonna end good.
No, and that one didn't, sadly.
All right, so got to talk about Felder versus Hooker. I know it's a couple weeks old. We haven't talked. I was talking to you about that fight. One of my favorite fights I've watched in a long fucking time. Better than most main events that have been on pay-per-views. And this was just a fight night main event. What were your thoughts on it?
So I did just rewatch that. You had asked me about it, and I wanted to be sharp about it. And so I scored the fight the way you're supposed to score the fight, and that's after each round according to the judging criteria.
Yep.
And man, I could see it being scored a lot of different ways. I think one for sure was Hooker's round. I think two was probably Hooker's round, but I would not be mad at anybody who thought it was Felder's round. And three, I think could have been a draw even, though I think my initial response was for Felder, but I'm not mad if somebody said it was for Hooker. So the scoring could be all over the place.
Yeah.
But the fight itself, I feel like it took Paul Felder a little too long to get going. You know, if we wanted to have a result that was definitive, he should have did what he did in like the 4 and 5 earlier in round 3 to kind of stamp it. But I feel like he just took a little too long to get off.
Yeah, I mean, fuck. I mean, that's one nobody got robbed. It was
No.
a great fucking fight. I mean, as good as it fucking gets, man. And this is where I come to a point where I think that eventually there's going to be some modification. I think in the next year or so, they're going to have to come down and look at a lot of the judging stuff just to get clarity on it, because the sport's getting so big and they're making so much money that it can't just kind of be the same old, and the pressure from the media and just fucking the fans of MMA, I think, will mandate it. But do you think guys that take more damage visibly are at a disadvantage now with the current judging system? The guys that cut easier, that have more scar tissue, that tend to, because there's just guys that tend to show marks. Like Felder's just white as snow. I mean, he gets red when you touch him. Then you got the Diaz brothers. They cut if you fart on them. I mean, their eyes open up. They're just pure scar tissue.
Yes, sir.
So do you think that that's a fair thing? And where do you think that damage can go into the equation?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to throw the judges, under the bus like that. Like, I think that they're supposed to be educated. They should be. They know what somebody like Felder, who's an albino and just shows everything real quick, right? Like, vice somebody who's just takes damage less, on the doesn't wear it the same way. Yeah. So I don't think the judges are that naive. But for the fans, sure. But I kind of don't care what the masses have to say because they're not real fans. So they can always argue about that. Like, and it's just going to be what it is. But I think, I think people need to read the rules and need to see how fights are scored. And that shouldn't matter, right? Yeah. I mean, it does. It actually says it in there too about wearing damage too. So I think he would be at a disadvantage.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because I've read them just like you. Like, I've tried to study them, and I know that the order that they should score in.
Yes, sir.
And it just seems like guys like that are they come in, even though I'm sure judges, like you said, are educated. And when Big John McCarthy was running an event, I'm sure he would tell all the judges, hey, this guy cuts like he's going to cut. So be prepared, and
right.
But, you never know what a judge is going to say. But I do still, deep down, I will always say, what Dana's always said. You can't leave it to the judges. You got to get a finish.
Sure.
Somebody's got to get a finish. And I know that to a lot of fans, they think, oh, you can't say that because if it's a war or this, but somebody's got to get a finish, or there might be fuckery. It's human beings, so there could always be a difference of opinion.
Yeah, judging is subjective, right? And that's just it. It's up to their opinion and their perspective, and nobody else has the exact perspectives of those three judges. They're ringside and cage side.
Yep.
Each one of them has their own perspective that nobody else in that arena has. I don't know.
Well, so what do you think of? Did you watch the Magomed and Kutalaba fight?
Is that the one? Is that the one where dude was playing stupid?
Yeah, that's Kutalaba.
Yeah, that was a terrible ref intervention.
Evan McDonald, the ref.
Yeah, he fucked that one. He fucked up. He fucked up.
Yeah, that was my question to you. I was going to ask, what do you think was going through Kevin McDonald's mind? Do you think he was just watching Kutalaba and fell for Kutalaba's clear rope-a-dope, which guys have done for years? I mean, Pete Sell and what's his name? Hands of Steel.
Scott Smith.
Yes, the greatest opie-dope, even though he really was hurt in history to me, when he was like, oh, the body shot got him.
Sure.
Pete comes running in, knocks his ass out. That's all I was thinking. I could see it look like a rope-a-dope. But so what do you do with that? What do you think? So you just feel like it was a bad call? Well,
look, again, not going to throw him under the bus. He's there not to fuck things up, right? But I see what he saw. However, even if I saw what I think he saw, I wouldn't stop the fight because I'm going to let these guys do their thing. But so Scott Smith, Pete Sell, when he was rope-a-dope, he was hunched over. In this case, dude was doing the rope-a-dope so deep in his acting that his eyes were moving around wobbly, and it looked like he got cracked with head kicks and punches. Though we can see in the replay
they didn't really land.
But the ref doesn't have that advantage, right? I don't know what he saw. It looked like he got cracked.
That's fair.
It looked like he got cracked with a kick to the head, a punch to the head, and the dude's doing the Fred stare, right? He's just wobbly all over the place. But his eyeballs were going, like he was on some ecstasy. He had the eye wiggles. Yeah. And okay, so maybe this dude saw that, oh shit, he's out. But again, even if that's what I saw, I'm not stopping the fight. I'm gonna let you take one. They're fucking fighters.
Yeah, I don't like standing stoppages. Period, really, just as a principle to avoid shit like this. I know there's times where people have been out on their feet. I think the Rousey stoppage was fair on her. She was still standing, and that was fucking incredible. You can stop that, but this wasn't that. And I like Kevin McDonald, but sometimes I just wish these refs, to save face, like PR-wise, come out and say, I fucked that one, guys, sorry. Because you're human. We all make mistakes, but it's when they dig in or say that, oh, but I saw, you can't do, there's become such intricacies in fighting as it's evolved. I mean, shit, they're getting so good at everything, selling, roping open, fucking everything. It's big money now.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a fan of fighters fighting, right? I'm standing. Man get knocked out. He didn't get knocked out. He was weeble wobble. He wasn't. That was a bad call. And it is what it is. But I don't even think they have the opportunity to come out, correct? I think the commissions don't let them say shit.
Yeah, I think so. But it would just be nice if that could be a possibility. I'm talking about for them, so they don't take the ass pounding.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, for sure.
I'm the kind of guy, if you say that, I'll be like, hell, I make mistakes all the fucking time. I get it.
I think Herb Dean acknowledged that to some extent when Robbie Lawler got choked out by, because when Robbie came back up, like I was out, he was like, I think he kind of like a little bit, but I still support Herb Dean.
Me too.
I've met Herb a few times personally, and I've asked him about certain calls. I was like, how'd you fuck that one up? And then he explained it to me. I was like, I need to shut the fuck up. Like, you are the pro. You do know what you're talking about. And so his description to me of what had to happen, where he came in from, what angle, and what was in jeopardy, I was like, yeah, fans and myself need to shut the fuck up. Like, some of these guys really know what they're talking about, and Herb is one of them.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people don't know. Herb fights, or he did. That
Yeah.
motherfucker is bad motherfucker, man.
Yeah, I rolled with Herb at the Fight Academy in Pasadena, and the dude put me in a fucking can opener. I'm like, "Why you try to can opener me? What the fuck, Herb Dean? Okay, here we go.
So do you train with Gracie Baja?
Jiu-jitsu, yes, sir.
Yeah, you know I started my 3-year-old at Gracie Baja here in Atlanta,
Right on.
in Ackworth. Fabio Costa is his professor.
Okay.
Love Fabio. I've rolled with Fabio. He's a beast among men. He's
Is
an awesome dude.
is he
But I
doing
love
right by
Baja.
Gracie Baja in following? See, this is my thing about Gracie Baja, right? Like, I don't just bleed red like everybody else,
Mhm.
but I believe that if the Gracie Baja is following the structured curriculum, at least in the fundamentals class, and going through that methodology, taking class 1A and 1B like they're supposed to, those are great places. But a lot of
Yeah.
these other Gracie Bajas that are former fighters are just using that name, and bastardizing the program,
Yep.
and saying, I'll teach you whatever today, or what do you guys want to work on today? No good, man.
Yeah.
Just because it says Gracie Baja doesn't guarantee it's going to be a good place to train, but it's a good start. Go check it out, investigate it, and see what the
Yeah.
culture's like. But if they're not following that curriculum, they need to kick rocks and take Gracie Baja's name off their sign.
Yeah, Fabio follows the curriculum to a T. He runs it great. I love that guy. There's another Gracie Baja not far from this one. The Ackworth one, where we put my son, is like the southeastern hub. Fabio, I don't know all the affiliations, but he's always traveling, going to the other schools. But there's one up closer, a little north, that everybody's trying to get removed from Gracie Baja.
Oh shit!
Just
Yeah.
like you just said, it's a guy
Yeah.
that used to fight. He doesn't follow the curriculum. His kids program is terrible, which is
Yeah,
a huge part
yeah.
of Gracie Baja. You want the
Massive.
kids program to be
Yeah.
solid.
Jiu-jitsu for everyone.
Yes, exactly.
That's the slogan.
And see, I went back. Fabio was great to me, right? Because when I had 2 discs replaced in my neck 2 years ago, I'd have them taken out, and dead guy bones and a cage and screws and plates. And I set a goal with Fabio. I said, I want to get back on the mats in 6 months. And my doctors were like, a year minimum. Fabio was like, all right, well, if you're cleared at 6 months, I'll roll with you, even privately if you'd like, to get, so you don't get, a blue belt in here or a white belt to come in and just
Yeah.
break your neck, some cock strong motherfucker, that.
Somebody wants to show off.
Yeah. And I got down there one day before that 6-month mark. I got back on the mats and got choked. Didn't hurt. It's good to do. But no, I'm a huge Gracie Baja fan. And my other son, my oldest, trained at Atlanta Top Team, or American Top Team here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Down with Rowan and all them, Brian Stan and all those.
Oh, right
guys.
on. Yeah. Ron Carnero.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right on. Yeah. I'm a Gracie Baja fan. I'm a Gracie Academy fan. I'm really a jiu-jitsu fan.
Of course.
Gi or no gi, I love jiu-jitsu, period.
Do you like one better than the other, though? Just personal preference? Because
No.
Here's what I get. I like no gi as a guy that liked wrestling and stuff. I do like gi, but, gi, because I started no gi at an MMA school when we were fighting when I was young. And then when I went to a gi, God, you can get strangled so differently.
Yeah,
Once
for
you
sure.
put on a gi, like if you've never trained in a gi, I think everyone should. Your defense will get better than ever, because when somebody strangles you with a gi, you got like a millisecond.
You have to be more technical in the gi. You
Yeah.
can get away with more by being strong and explosive no gi. But I love and hate gi and no gi equally. I love jujitsu.
Well, I wanted to.
I don't know if that makes
shine
any
a
sense right
light.
there.
Nice.
Jujitsu.
I love that. That's fucking dope. I want to highlight your Instagram post you just put up. If I could love that anymore, I would, about being
Yeah.
a fucking clean, fucking, member of the team when you're training. I harp
Yes, sir.
on that. Nothing bothers me more than guys that long fingernails, fucking stinky ass gis, stinky ass fucking rash guards, fucking shitty ass old sprawl shorts that smell like asshole.
Get the fuck
Can't
out
fuck
of here.
with you. I can't win
Nah.
with you. I can't train with you either. Like
No.
there's certain things. I mean, come on, man.
No, and I'm going to call you out too for this for everybody else. I have no problem with it. Like, stop it. I'll offer to take your shit home if you need somebody to take your shit home and wash it once or twice. I'll help you out. Maybe you're down on your luck or something, but get that shit together. Wash your ass every class, no exceptions. Clean pink gang.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, so what did you, the very first time you did jujitsu? This is, I know we're harping on it, but I love this. I think it's going to be great for the listeners of the audio podcast to get a background on you and I both. But the first time you started jujitsu, right? What was your go? What was the first submission you learned and felt comfortable with and ran with first?
Yeah, Americana from
one.
side control.
Okay.
Americana from side control, half guard, side control, wherever. Yeah.
I had this weird tendency when I was learning with John Sturgis to pull guard all the time when I was
Ooh.
learning. And I would pull guard and try to take an arm. And I just all the fucking time. And then as we got better, like that just kind of the first thing I learned stuck with me. And I took so many elbows to the head, so much ground and pound from that bad habit.
Yeah. Fuck that.
Of trying to jump to guard all the time. And people were just, this was early 2000s. So everybody was learning the fucking Tito Ortiz ground and pound and shit. And so people were loving that, you know, when I'd pull guard. Help. The last time I fought, I got beat. The fuck got beat out of me by another guy that was way heavier than me. I was a pretty small heavyweight, and just laid on me and beat the dog shit out of me forever. And I was like, I'm not going to do this pro. I'm not good enough. I'm not going to keep taking this ass beating.
No.
But the jiu-jitsu, I'll never stop. And I think it was the best thing I ever did, putting my son in. Gracie Baja took him at 3. As soon as he was potty trained, they would take him.
Nice, yeah.
Kids program's excellent. So I'm a huge advocate. Like you, if they run by the program.
Yeah, at least in the fundamental class, right? Like the curriculum, Gracie Baja allows you the opportunity in the advanced class to teach your own techniques as a black belt that you know that you think your students need to learn it, and that's cool. But I'm a jiu-jitsu fundamentalist, you know. So if I'm going to go to my back, it's going to be to stay safe, and I'm going to use more like Gracie's Academy's, stage 1 through 4. I'm just trying to stay safe. I'm trying to control your punches and keep you close to me. But sure, you know how to throw it up if you need to attack that arm or something. But if we're talking about street fights, I'm going to get on top. And so for sure, it was easy for me to learn from there. Take the Americana, the Kimura, I like the side choke. Yeah.
Well, see, coming from, had never trained, right? It was me and a bunch of guys that were, wrestlers. Wrestlers predominantly don't like being on their back. That was always the transition.
Right.
But so I knew that was the word. Yeah, so I was like, cool. Shit, all right, I'm going to get comfortable doing it. But I got over comfortable. And I learned out of it. But I'm just talking about those first few fucking classes. I was like a damn spider monkey, just jumping up on motherfuckers, trying to pull them into my guard. I don't know why I felt that was safe, but it's just funny how you evolve in jiu-jitsu as you learn. But it's a thing at a time, and it's getting choked a lot and tapping all the time.
Oh, yeah, tap early, tap often, tap twice for sure. Leave that ego shit at the door. Somebody's going to beat you. Get used to that.
That's tap the most humbling thing I've ever done was jiu-jitsu, because I was getting my ass handed to me by guys that were 100 pounds lighter than me.
Takes a lot to come back from getting your ass whooped, right? No offense to CrossFitters or people who just bang iron, but you incrementally get better at that every day and every time you go back. In jiu-jitsu, you're getting your ass whooped before you plenty of times before you move forward at all.
Oh, for sure. There's so many taps. If you kept track of that shit,
you should have. It doesn't even matter, right?
Of course,
I know, but
Yeah, but if there was like a number, like the 10,000 hour rule, like probably 10,000 taps, you got to tap all the time and leave that ego at the door.
Leave that ego. You're going to have some sore joints and you're not going to make it the long run. Like I want to train as long as I can forever. I want to roll. That's the only thing that keeps me active, right? Like, if it's like, hey, let's go work out, I'm like, I can't maybe. But if it's like, hey, let's go roll, like what time, where, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my fitness.
This is my advice to like the Twitter trolls, the MMA Twitter nitwits that we run into at times that have never trained. If you're thinking about training, a lot of these guys, if you act like you act on Twitter, then you're going to be the guy that goes in and tries to hurt somebody, right? Like you're going to make that mistake. But let me tell you, at every school, every place I've ever trained, they have enforcers that, if that happens, you will get it back twofold in some way or another. Don't be that guy.
No, don't.
Is what I'm saying.
You'll learn really quickly. that real life isn't Twitter. So maybe go ahead and act like that. No
Sure,
problem.
yeah, maybe it'll change your life.
Yeah,
you know,
it probably it'll humble you for sure, no doubt
Mhm.
about it. The story is told 1,000 times, right? I was big and strong and went in there and got whooped by somebody small, a woman, something else. Like, whoa, a kid. Yeah, technique matters, and you'll learn that quickly, and you'll learn their consequences. So shut up.
Oh yeah, dude, you will absolutely learn. There's no, and the women are so fucking good. God, they've gotten so good. The
Technical,
young girls in the kids
technical.
program, like
Yeah,
there's these two little girls. They're twins. They're the cutest little blonde-haired girls. Sweetest thing you'd ever think you'd encountered, right? And they competed. They were on the competition side, and they were at a tournament. Fuck, I think it was like the Atlanta Open or something. One of them broke their ankle. This is like a 6-year-old girl.
yeah. They won't
Competed and
do
still
it.
won.
Yeah.
Savage.
Balls.
Savage.
They won't tap. They go so hard. You have to save them from themselves.
Yeah.
Like, because kids will not tap. They'll go out like they
They
don't
are
want to
savages.
lose. Yeah, they're pretty badass.
All right. So back to this, though. Did you see the Benavidez fight that just happened?
I did.
What'd you think about that? First off, we got how do you pronounce it? Figueredo
Yeah.
that missed weight, so he wasn't eligible for the belt.
Yeah.
The old Romero scenario, where he wasn't eligible, but Benavidez was. So he didn't get the belt. Now, technically, did Cejudo relinquish the belt when
Yeah,
they start as soon as the bell rung?
Yeah. That's released for sure.
So that
No
belt is
longer the champ.
vacant.
Vacant. Yes, sir.
So I've heard rumblings that Benavidez might get a fourth shot.
And he should actually.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's somebody else that pops in mind in that division that everybody's clamoring for. So because Figueiredo missed weight by 2.5 pounds, I'm like, fuck, like anything that happened afterwards doesn't even matter. Like, you didn't make championship weight, and not even close, really.
Not even close.
2.5 pounds for those little dudes is big.
Mhm.
And so yeah, no, I'm okay with the way it ended. What happened? I think he gets a do-over because of that, and I'm
Yeah.
okay with it.
And people that don't know, right? They stopped his cut the day before weigh-ins, right? The doctors and UFC intervened and said they're not going to let him continue to cut weight. Like, he was all, that far off. So that gives him an extra day to put back on weight.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And people don't realize that drastic difference. The guys, I mean, they don't weigh them publicly when they, walk into the octagon. Guys can be easily 20, 25 pounds.
Yeah, there was a big difference on fight night in that octagon. However, and I think, okay, there's obviously going to be a difference in Figueiredo's, however you say his names, Figueiredo, in his performance, because he's going to have to struggle maybe to actually get those last 2 pounds off, or hire a nutritionist, because I think they said that he doesn't even have a nutritionist, so he could probably make some adjustments to get to the fight and compete the same way. But Benavidez, dude is just, he was waiting in with every shot, power, head forward, right? Like that headbutt that they got cut was kind of his fault.
I think that accidental butt fucked him.
I think that was his fault, though. He's the one running in there, right?
Still an accidental butt. Like, what I'm saying is, I think that had real ramifications, and that happens.
Sure.
Fighting, I mean, fuck, man.
Yeah, there's no way you're going to bang heads that hard, that fast, and not be affected by it. And he definitely was. Yeah, so I'm okay with him getting the next shot again for all of those reasons. Yeah,
I like that we agree on that 100%. That's exactly how I feel. I fuck everybody else. If they don't think so, fuck them. They're not idiots.
I mean,
there's nobody else.
What's the argument against it? Like, if people are fighting for the division, it wasn't an exciting fight. Well, whatever.
Fuck them. That's like people griping about Yoel. Nobody wants to fight Yoel.
So we hear everybody's complaining about the judges got it wrong. The judges got it wrong. But then they use, well, he lost his last 3. But there's a lot of, like, what is it? We care about what the judges say, or we don't? I know I don't. But do you guys care, or you don't care? Like, get it right. Make a big deal about all the judging. And here we are, say, okay, well, most people think he won. So why are you giving him a hard time with the fight? It's a badass fight. To shut the fuck up.
I agree. And I've got a personal rule, right? Split decisions and shit, I throw them out the fucking window. Honestly, for me, like, if it's, they don't mean much to me, like decisions in general. Even I look at finishes,
right?
And that's my biggest deterrent. When I'm looking at guys at matchups, Yoel could have easily been the one that beat Whitaker.
Sure.
That could have went either way.
Absolutely.
I thought he beat Costa, but hey, it was a good fight.
Close. Great fight.
So, fuck everybody. They just
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
be pissed at something, man. They want to
Doesn't
hate
make-
something. And you
no
don't
matter
have
what.
to hate either fighter. You don't have to have a beef with one of the two fighters in every fucking fight or find something to gripe about it.
Right.
You know, you could just say, hey, this could be a cool contest. Let's see who wins.
Yeah, yeah. Some people need to get laid a lot more, man. They gotta fucking chill out. Yeah, you're right. Always looking for something, right? Like what
And how many of them you think would say some shit to Yoel Romero's face and say, man, you don't deserve that shot? They'd suck him right off, goddamn.
Yeah,
As soon as he walked in the room,
Can I have
they'd
a
be
picture,
his
please?
biggest fan. Yes.
Picture, please. Sign my autograph book. Shut up.
That motherfucker's the scariest dude, one of the scariest dudes on planet Earth. I'm sorry, man. His neck is fused from top to bottom, and he's doing back handsprings, fucking dancing with Adesanya on the stage at 42 years old or whatever.
That was great. He was like, "Go ahead," and then he didn't, and he showed him. Boop, boop, boop. That was so badass. And so people are complaining still, but Adesanya asked for him. That's the champ. The champ says, "I want him," and he would have took Costa, but Costa's injured, so that doesn't matter. So then the champ says, "I want to fight you." Great. Then that's who we're going to watch fight. I don't care what Twitter says or Ariel Helwani or what any of those guys have to say. I'm a fight fan. I want to see this matchup. Why not?
Yeah. And I like when the UFC gets out of its own way sometimes and lets these champions call somebody out and let it happen organically and just say, shit, if y'all want to scrap, we'll see. We'll settle it then.
If it's going to sell.
Has called out Yoel before, which I give huge props to.
And then you got Darren Till gassing it up even more by saying, "I'll fight anybody except Yoel." So he's even adding to it. It's great. Yeah, shut up, everybody. Shut up.
All right, so we've got to go down the card and make our official picks for 248, so we can put them out there for the listeners to
sure
mock us or hold us accountable. See who's going to pick. I'm going to let you go first.
Is it 248?
Yeah, we will start with there's only a few fights that I really care about on this card.
Okay.
We'll start with Alex Oliveira and Max Griffin.
Yeah, I like the Cowboy. I like Max Griffin too. I don't know that I know enough about each one of their camp and how it's gone to really pick somebody, but I think I'll just throw it out there and take Alex Oliveira. I'm not going to say I know who's going to win because I don't, but I'll take Alex Oliveira.
All right, I'm the same. I love the fucking Cowboy. He's a
wild man.
His fights are always entertaining,
exciting.
You say what you want. His fights are nasty, and they are usually always bloody. And he's a champ. Yeah, I'll take Oliveira as well. All right, Neil Magny and Li Jingliang.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of Neil Magny's. I've seen him out here in Orange County several times. He's an impressive specimen, tall guy, long rangey guy. But he always kind of like falls short. And this Li Jingliang guy, he's kind of been doing some nice things, and he's kind of more on the come up. So I'll roll with him.
All right, I'm going to take Neil because I think he's fighting for his UFC life here.
Cool.
So we'll see. I'll take Neil, and you'll take Jingliang.
Li Jingliang. Yeah.
All right. So next we got Dariush and Drakkar Klose.
Yeah. So Beneil is a Gracie Barra guy. And I'm just going to take him for that reason. He's also really calm, very experienced. I'm not going to sleep on Drakkar as well. He's 11 and he's only lost one fight. Yeah, it should be competitive. Again, I'll just stick with Beneil because he's a Gracie Barra brother.
Yep, I'm taking him too. I like Dariush, actually. He's a fucking beast. All right, next we got Wheelie and Joanna.
Ooh, yeah. Oh, man.
This fight is a huge boner giver for me. Like, this fight is huge. We're going to see where Joanna Champion is. Like, this is her shot.
Okay, so I pulled up the tail of the tape here, and I was wondering how small Weili is, and she's only 2 inches shorter than Joanna. So I'm going to go with Weili Zhang. I feel like Joanna hasn't taken any real responsibility for her recent losses and how things have gone. She's personal issues, this, that, and I know those things are impactful, but I've just been impressed with the way Weili looks, and I'm gonna roll with her.
All right. All right, I'm at a fucking conundrum here. I'm gonna have to go with my fucking shit. I'm gonna have to go with my gut. I'm gonna take Joanna for
Cool.
this reason. I just think like she's talk. If she doesn't, I'm gonna be really done with her as far as picking her here. But she has said everything about like if it could go wrong. Supposedly it's been going wrong in her camp, like her personal life and all this
Yeah.
shit. So we'll see. Like my head is telling me to take Wheelie, but I'm gonna go with the gut. I'm taking Joanna.
So I'm going to say this again, just to reinforce it. None of these fights do I think I know who's going to win. I wouldn't
Sure.
bet
Yeah,
on any of
absolutely.
them, right? I know,
Yeah.
but yeah, some
I'm
people
wrong all the time
act
with
like,
these.
yeah, right here. I mean, there are some times when I'll bet the house on that shit, especially like Jorge Masvidal. If he ever got in there with Connor, I'm betting the house on that shit. But these fights, these are fun. These are competitive.
All right, so you're taking. Let me get these right.
Weili Zhang.
I'm taking Magny. We're both taking Oliveira.
Yes, sir.
All right, so the main event. This one we kind of got to dive into and see what's up. Stylebender, Yoel. What are your thoughts, opening thoughts on this fight? Do you think it's going to be a good fight? You don't even have to say you're picking yet. Do you think it's a good matchup
Yes.
stylistically?
Have you seen a bad Yoel Romero fight?
I haven't. I'm a huge Yoel guy. So
You
yeah, I
know?
agree.
Yeah, and Israel's been in there with everybody mixing it up. Kevin Gastelum style, who this might look a little similar to, in the just try to box and maybe not take him down. But I think without saying the pick, I guess I think Israel's just going to maintain the distance and tee off on Yoel a little bit. I don't think Yoel is going to be able to do too much to Israel. His footwork, his movement, his side steps, he's always changing direction and. Yoel's just kind of looking to explode, and I don't know. I think Israel touches him more often than not. I don't know if there's a knockout happening, but maybe cumulative.
Sure.
I like Israel to maintain the distance.
I mean, I couldn't argue that as far as the distance goes. That's absolutely right. I mean, if you just look, he's a. That's why one day I would love to see him and John Jones get to dance maybe at some point in their careers. But that long ass distance, his quirky, hard to mimic style for training. I think Yoel lives and breathes by explosion. Quick explosive bursts, like when he kneed Chris Weidman's head off. Like, I mean, that's typical Yoel. Like that's how he needs to win. You're not really going to finish. I've never seen anybody finish Yoel. Closest, like Robert Whitaker had him rocked a good couple of times in their war, but and Tim Kennedy rocked him. I remember that fight, that fuckery. That was a good one where Yoel got an extra minute on the stools, like no English.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. I'm sure they believe that shit because they every time ice on the floor, stool lay, everything, whatever. Yeah.
He's done it all, man. But the Cubans, and see, this is an interesting thing about Cubans. And speaking of Fabio Costa, the professor, he went and trained in Cuba. We've talked about Yoel together a lot. And he went and trained in Cuba for years and stayed in their dorms and was telling me about how those kids are, when they're put into the sports programs in Cuba, how much food they eat is based on whether they win or not.
I've heard that before.
Like if you win all the time, you get meat.
Yeah,
if you win sometimes, you get vegetables.
Yeah, I've heard that.
If you don't win, you get whatever's left.
Yeah, you better win tomorrow, motherfucker. You're going hungry.
So it kind of explains that mentality of Cuban fight. I mean, they're fucking nasty, man.
Yeah, for sure. You got to win or you're not going to eat. Shit, if that's built into if that's ingrained in you, shit, yeah, for sure. I'm going to win. I got to eat.
People want to say steroids with Yoel, but I say his body hasn't changed since he was 18.
Yeah.
You can go back and find Olympic video of him wrestling. He's looked 45 years old since he was 18 years old.
Yeah. There are just some freaks. And then there are just some freaks. I think he's definitely that. But then he's also been tested a ton, right? Like ever since, the suspicions of him and, the tainted supplement case, he's been tested quite a bit. And I don't know if the government, one government, Cuba somewhere is behind him. He's not even, so no, but I don't think they're trying to stay that far ahead of the scientists, right? Like engineering what he's taking. Fuck if they are great, but I just think we chalk this one up to he gets tested a lot. He's just a freak of nature.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw that Holly Holm was the first 50-time tested athlete under USADA for the UFC.
Not surprised. She is so ripped. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be suspicious. She is a man. She has an amazingly fit, ripped body
No.
all the time. You ever seen her out of shape? Like she
No.
doesn't fall off the wagon after she loses a fight. 2 days later, she's dancing somewhere else, looking mean.
She's a big girl too.
Yeah,
Like people,
yeah.
she's not a little like puny ripped. She's a big ass girl.
Yeah, I just wish she would get to flowing, man. She's just
Shit,
too
man.
robust. Just get out there and fucking touch something. I don't know.
She's like overtrained. That's a great point. Like she's almost overtrained to where
Too much.
she sticks to a game plan too much.
1,
Like
2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
1, 1. Like fuck, come on.
It's literally it's like like
The same.
you can even hear her saying her combos.
Yep.
And guys and ladies, I think there is such a thing as being overly programmed, because then they miss windows where what, sometimes you got to throw one from your ass. Goddamn, you got to
yeah.
throw one, piss in the wind and see what happens.
Yes, sir. I think she
But
definitely
I
falls
agree
into
with
that.
you. I love some Holly Holm though, and for her to get the first 50 clean tests from Nowitzki, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not mad at Holly Holm.
All right, so predictions wise, I'll go first on this one since you went first of the other ones. I'm taking Yoel for this reason. I think he's gonna find an explosive home, because I agree with you. It's very much like the Gastelum fight. You got a very durable guy in front of you, shorter, compact, very much like Gastelum, more muscular, more explosive. And so I think Stylebender's not going to be able to put him away. He's going to be out pointing him, probably destroying him on scorecards. But I just think Yoel, he knows this could be his last shot at a belt, maybe. I mean, fuck, who knows? He's good enough to keep going. Says he wants to fight till he's 50.
Yeah, he'll get another fight. Maybe not at 185, but maybe 205.
I would hate to see how big he is if he gets to fight at 205.
I'd love to see how big he
Doesn't
is.
have to cut any weight at all.
I'd love to see it.
But for the sport and everything, I really don't care. I love both these fighters. I don't have a bad thing to say about Stylebender. I was skeptical at first whether it was a new hype train, but the dude's a G. He called out Yoel Romero. He's beat everybody in front of him. He speaks well. He's funny, charming. Hell, I'm cool with him. I like him a lot.
So I lost money on Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury because I went with the I don't think Tyson's going to be able to stay away from that bomb for 12 rounds. And so there's something in the air. I think these technical, boxers got something to prove. And I feel like Israel is going to go the way of Fury and really just touch him up and put it on him. That's what I see.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna bet money on the bomb on this one. I'm gonna bet money on the technique. And so I'll take Israel.
That's fair. I could totally see that happen. So glad you brought this up. Deontay Wilder from the great state of Alabama, like me. Love him. Roll
Tuscaloosa.
Tide, goddamn hell. I consider him a brother in Alabama love, goddamn, but I'm disappointed. Not in his performance, because you get beat. I don't care about that. But the equipment weighing too much, dude, that's the worst shit I've ever heard. I was so angry about it.
Not this. Come on, dog. Like I'll go out on my shield. You're mad at your trainer. Okay. You can. That's good. That's good for your image. But yeah, no. Not the fucking. My costume was too heavy. Come on. He must have been really fucked up. If that's what he came up with, let's just chalk that up to he was concussed. He got hit, back of the head, kind of, for sure he wasn't all there. And I'm gonna give him a pass and say that's why he blamed it on the costume, because you can't be in your right mind.
Before, like, try it on or some shit, like, or did someone magically tell you, hey, you're wearing a 45-pound ridiculous thing tonight?
So I heard that he just got the costume like the day before. It was like late delivery. He didn't know it was going to be that heavy. But then I've also heard that he trains in a weighted vest suit. So
I heard that on Rogan.
he was wobbly because I feel like he got clipped a little bit, the ear kind of back of the head. That's why he was wobbly, and that's why he was out, man. He was off equilibrium. He was like Bambi all over the place for more than several rounds. Hey, look, you got cracked, bro. It wasn't an intentional illegal blow. I think it was an illegal punch. Back of the head's illegal, whether intentional or unintentional. And I think that had a tremendous impact on the fight. But I don't know if it would have gone any differently because Fury, really, his strategy with his increased weight weighing on him, he had a good plan and he was going forward and he took it to him. And we'll see how the third one goes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why people can't just give credit where it's due. Like Fury had a great game plan. I mean, he really did.
Forward.
He just fucking decided, you know what? I'm going to do the opposite of last fight. I'm going to make him fight off his back foot, which people have historically seen is his kind of crutch for Deontay Wilder. And Floyd Mayweather's jumped in and said he could train Deontay for the third fight and have him beat Fury.
Hey, whatever sells the fight, whatever.
Yeah, and everybody's up in arms about it, man. It's prize fighting, it's boxing. I think it's good drama. Everybody's got to relax.
What are they up in arms about? I haven't heard this.
That they shouldn't fight a third time. That's not fair. You know what? In the world of prize fighting and shit, it doesn't matter what you or I think is fair. What's money? And I'm gonna watch a third one no matter what. I'll admit it right now. I'm gonna watch it.
Who the fuck doesn't want to see that fight again?
I want to see what Wilder's made of because I think a lot of times he's young enough and new enough in boxing. Everybody knows he hasn't boxed for his whole life. He converted later in life when football was over for him. So I want to see. Sometimes a loss can be a good thing. People think you got to be undefeated. No, you don't, man. Not my favorite fighters. They weren't undefeated.
Every great fighter has, say for Floyd, every great fighter has lost. Everybody considers Muhammad, the greatest of all time. He's lost. Losing happens. Only Floyd Mayweather, I think, Rocky Marciano. Yeah, are two boxers in boxing history, or did Andre Ward retire undefeated?
I don't know if he did retire undefeated. He may have.
I think he retired. So maybe three boxers in the recent memory who never been defeated. Yeah, there's plenty of great fighters who have lost, and that doesn't. This one loss doesn't mean he's not a great. As I'm saying, is he a great fighter? I think he's a great knockout artist.
Yeah, you're right.
Because technically, he's not a great fighter.
No, technically, he's kind of doo-doo.
Yeah,
that's his thing.
Right.
One right hand.
Right. And, it's effective. It's effective for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this will be the last thing I wanted to run by. I had this note to see it. Did you see the recent podcast Mike Tyson did?
I've only seen the clips
where he talks about where he was crying. He doesn't want the old guy to come out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Where's Tyson on your list? And what did you think of those clips?
So Tyson on my list. So growing up, I definitely remember the Holyfield, Tyson, Lewis, Bo, all of that, right? And I was absolutely drawn towards Evander Holyfield. That was my dude. I was like, this fit ass dope dude is using more technique than the Marauder that Mike Tyson was.
I've met Evander. He's fucking top notch.
I grabbed his traps when I was a kid. I jumped up. He was doing it was an open workout in Caesar's Palace. I believe it was Caesar's Palace. My dad's like, go over there. I remember grabbing his traps. Like, that's big ass man, right? So I've always felt close to, that was who I rooted for, was Evander. Yeah. And probably because my dad was always hating on Mike Tyson. But I learned to not just go by what the older people around me thought, my dad included, and I respected what Mike Tyson was fucking doing, man. Yeah. He wasn't just winging punches. He was moving, switching, defense. You got to give Mike Tyson all of his credit, respect, and I do. Yeah. What I think about those clips, Mike is an enigma. Mike is a different person with way different experiences than you or myself or anybody else. Nobody's been the baddest man on the planet, the most revered man on the planet for so long in a time when the heavyweight champion of the world was everything. And what he's seen and done, I have no fucking clue. Wild, wild shit. So when I know he knows he's being recorded. I'm sure he's aware of that a little bit and went deeper into his feelings, but I don't think it wasn't authentic. I think it absolutely was. And yeah, I believe him. I believe he's worried that crazy animal motherfucker that he was, raised to be, can come out of him. People are always complaining about their childhood all the time. They're all fucked up because of their childhood. This is Mike Tyson, who definitely had a more fucked up childhood than most. So yeah, I believed it all.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that kid, he came from a home, his mother was a prostitute and raised by an old white man that was a boxing guru who was very stern and had one objective. So he never really got that portion of his life from his teens to, he was a guy that was scared to death to fight, but wanted to fight. Like, people that don't think he's authentic, that's crazy, dude. That guy fires my tits up every time he speaks. I love the fact that he has found medicinal cannabis to help with his, issues. He's a big fan of it, and I love that. And he's actually made a lot of his money back. And I'm pulling for Mike Tyson always, and I hope that he doesn't ever succumb to that old Mike coming out, because it's only bad intentions with that
for
guy.
For sure.
I've seen him moving around with some of these fighters again. Like, he's kind of starting to talk about it again. And if he ever went into somebody's camp and really, like, because he says he doesn't even hit the bag because he doesn't want to get angry again and shit.
Yeah.
But there's nobody I'd rather talk to. I mean, he was such a good defensive fighter. People don't give him enough credit. He could move. He's a historian of boxing.
Yeah.
And Buster Douglas just removed the cape from Superman.
Yeah, shit happens, right? Yeah. Everybody falls. Rome fell. Everything falls. Mike fell. That was epic.
But I'm always pulling for the guy. I hate when people give him shit, and because that's an easy target. To me, it's cheap. Like, that guy's a goat, man. Leave him alone. Let him try to do well in life. And if you think he's
always
a bitch, you're a fucking bitch. Anybody that would say Mike Tyson is a bitch, I would just need to slap the shit out. And I don't want to slap the shit out of people, but if that comes out of somebody's mouth, like, I hate that when they say it about any fighter, a pro fighter. When some MMA Twitter douche says, "Oh, he's a fucking bitch," I'm like, really?
No.
Really? No. You would never say that.
No fucking way. Shut
it could be the lowest caliber of a UFC fighter. They wouldn't say it.
A female will slap your bitch ass up. Shut the fuck up.
Piece them up real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Drives me nuts. But all respect to Mike. Love that guy. So.
What did you think about those clips? What was your reaction to it?
I 100% bought into it, man. I think he's always struggled with that, right? Like, all the way back to the Robin Givens interview, when he was all docile. And I mean, you can tie it all the way back to his rape case, and going to prison. He's a very conflicted guy. Like, people don't give him credit. He's a smart guy. He's very well read. He's he may not have the best speech in the world.
Absolutely doesn't.
He's not dumb.
Yeah, no.
And he's trying to be better for his kids, and no one knows his experience. He had a daughter that died tragically.
Oh, yeah.
When she thinks she got her was either in the swimming pool or she got her neck wrapped around the power cord to like a treadmill at his home. Like, she was like 4 years old.
That's terrible.
And the guy's experienced pain that nobody has. And so you see that with him. And then when this is that new breed of bully I always talk about, right? Which I hate bullies. But they're all cyber bullies, right? They see some hole in some guys, or they think it's a hole. I don't think it's a hole for a man to cry if he's emotional. I mean, fuck, I don't give a shit. That dude will punch your head off your shoulders.
For sure.
With no problem.
Yeah, no problem. I remember teaching my niece jiu-jitsu. We're about to have a tournament, Gracie Baja Whittier. And I don't know why I showed her this one little technique. It was a standing arm triangle. I don't know why I felt like the kid just wasn't going to try to get to the ground. Showed her real quick. She ended up first tournament ever, wipeout shit. A little, maybe 12-year-old kid, and she choked out the boy. And I shit you not, I couldn't help it but cry on the side of the mat. And my friends were like, "Oh shit, are you crying?" Yeah, fuck you, I'm crying. I'll fuck you up while I'm crying. Like what? You know what? Oh well, you got a problem with me crying? Come here.
Yeah, there's
I got
nothing
you.
wrong with it.
Yeah,
I think it's
except I'm not gonna be crying on podcast because Dana White kicked me out the UFC. You know, I was overcome with emotion watching my niece choke out a boy in the first jiu-jitsu tournament. Okay, so
that hurt me. I remember that. We've talked about that before. All day.
Yeah. I was like, that's
God,
different.
man.
That's different.
You talk about his fortune change. How the fuck that guy's calling basketball now? He's on WWE. Like, fuck.
Good for him. No, good for him. He, you know, I go ahead. He's actually played basketball and he followed the WWE forever. Go talk about those, please. Go. Those arenas are about that drama. Go, please be a part of that. Like it's his drama that I don't appreciate in MMA. So I think those fit perfectly. And he is well studied, right? Like he's followed those things. He's followed broadcasters like Mike Tyson followed fighters. Give him credit where credit is due and go do that. Get the fuck out of MMA, please.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't honestly. I never had a huge problem with him other than the crying thing, and I was starting to forgive him for that bullshit. And then, you know, we talked about it. What he did, what I feel like he contributed to the Nick Diaz.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You know, I've got a huge spot for the Diaz brothers. I always have. I fucking love those guys, especially Nick. I think he's a pioneer that doesn't get enough credit, man. He's in my top 5. Talk about somebody that isn't scared of nobody. But he is, and he's a lot like Mike Tyson. Like he has a love-hate with fighting.
Yep.
And I think the greats kind of have that conflict, right? Except for Evander. I've met him at a couple of charity things here in Atlanta. You know, this is where he lives. And the motherfucker looks like he can still fight right now.
Yeah.
He does. I mean, he probably still wants to. Hell, he still is saying he could be champ again.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But there's something to be said. He was that first guy that really brought weight training, you know, because he was moving up in weight classes. He's small, man.
Yeah, cruiserweight, right?
Yeah, and I remember when he had that fucking weird backpack that he would strap on and do his fucking. And I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
He also took ballet.
Yeah, and then he pieced up Mike Tyson. Pieced him up.
Yeah.
Wasn't scared at all. He's the first guy I ever saw. Well, Buster. See, Buster had that. You know, his mom dying. Like he was just caught lightning in a bottle.
Yes.
And then got fatter than a motherfucker.
Yeah. Andy Ruiz 1.0. That's where Andy Ruiz took his inspiration from fucking Buster Douglas.
God, Andy, what a blown opportunity with that fucking guy, though, man. I had huge hopes for him till he took his fucking shirt off for the second fight.
Short-sighted,
I'm all for being chubby. If you're just a chubbier person, there's nothing wrong. Chubby guys can fight. But when you come in fat, I'm talking about fat.
Yeah. He proved that. He's taking a little bit of responsibility, and then I know people from his camp and from that circle, and they're like, bro, the dude was eating like at a pizza parlor the week before he left. Like this dude, he's partying too. Like I'm not going to talk about what a dude is doing while he's partying, but the dude was partying quite a bit. You know, he was being the king, he was being the man, but fuck, he could have really been the man for a lot. He didn't even have to win that next fight. He just had to have a good showing and show up and really put it on and fight like you're supposed to, you know, a Mexican warrior really coming to fight. Had he done that, he would still be revered. He would still be partying up being the man, but just showing up out of shape and obviously not training and fucking around, like, man, he became Buster Douglas 2.0.
Well, now he's got to win 2 or 3 fights again to get into the mix, where had he come in, like you said, and just been competitive, they would have had to do a rubber match.
Yeah, I don't know.
He would have gotten a rematch.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know. I don't right now off the top of my head. I don't know who his promoter is, but they need to keep him in that circle, right? Like
he's already booked. He's booked to fight some Russian guy, and then Fury and Deontay.
What about Ortiz? Yeah. If he fights Ortiz and has a great showing, he's right there for however these trilogies work out.
Yeah.
You know,
it work itself back out.
Go ahead and do that, but don't. Man, I would hate for him to get even further away from that.
And I'm not writing him off. What I'm saying is what happened to him is what would happen to probably 99% of people when you go from having very little money to Scrooge McDuck money.
To being the man.
Yeah. He's buying cars left and right. Probably got the best cocaine on earth. You know, he's partying up, got chicks everywhere, tits out, fucking loving him.
The attention. The
Oh, yeah.
attention is it, right? Like that's the best. You can have money, but to have attention,
Yeah.
that's even more.
And people that try to pretend like, "Oh, I would never do that." No, you don't know that. You know, none of
Yeah.
us do. How
Yeah.
I would react if I had that kind of money, who the fuck
Yeah.
knows?
I say it all the time. I'd like to believe I can handle the fame and fortune. I'm gonna try my best, but who knows? I might lose my fucking brain with everybody sucking your dick all the time, everywhere. Guys, girls, everybody bowing down to you because you're on TV. You're somebody, right? Like, man, it just might go to your head. I would hope not. I would hope not, but how do
Mhm.
I know? How do I know?
Yeah, I mean, it's always sat with me weird, like when Tyson, lost $100 million. I was like, how the fuck can someone lose $100 million? But then I started thinking about it. If you got Don King in one part of your pocket and all of your entourage in another part, and you're paying for everybody's shit.
Yeah.
And then after I watched the new Michael Vick documentary on ESPN and saw how he was footing the bill for every one of his friends and fucking
Leeches.
Virginia, like close friends that just fucked him, just ate and racked up expenses. And him being a loyal friend was just like, I got you. I got this big contract. They straight up sucked him dry.
Leeches. Terrible. MC Hammer, that was the first one I remember losing 50 million or more. I'm like, how the fuck does that happen? But when you roll with everyone everywhere and you're paying for everything, that's how it happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you don't have your eyes on the books, there's all kind of ways to get fucked.
Yes, sir.
Well, shit, man, we'll wrap this one up. We covered everything. This has been awesome, though. This is the kind of show I like, man. This is fantastic. Let's tell them where they can reach us at. Where can they get at you, dog?
On screen right there. I think if it's on screen, I see it on screen. Hashtag the V Ramos method. Hashtag Little Big Vince. Hashtag ABG_SGV. I'm out there.
Nice. And I'm Uncle Randy, goddamn hell. You can get at us at Married as Fuck on Twitter. Or if you have questions for us on the next episode, we'll be coming back in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about our picks from UFC 248. Anything else that comes up in combat sports, hell, we're willing to talk about it. You can ask us anything you want. Send that into at smoke throwing on Twitter, and we will always answer them. Every question you got, we'll get it answered, and we'll give it to you straight. Goddamn hell, you can even troll us if you want. You're gonna get fucked up. We're gonna give it to you how it should be. So if you want to send in some old bullshit, be prepared for what you get.
Send it.
Don't ask a question you don't want to hear the real answer to. Goddamn, we will look you up.
Yes, sir.
All right, brother, man. Well, I will holler at you next time, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right, see you, bud. This has been awesome. We'll talk to you later. This has been Throwing Smoke. Uncle Randy loves you, goddamn.
Choo.